Hey, kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Escondido in California. Sorry, totally forgetting where I am. I hope you're all having a super fantastic, sparkling day. It's been a rough day today. Can I just say grief sucks? You never know when or where it's going to hit you, but today would have been my 21st wedding anniversary. It's my third anniversary without Brad. Because he passed 3 months before our 19th anniversary. So 2 years ago, when I celebrated our wedding anniversary, it was graveside, and I was pretty numb. Last year, I was back home in New Zealand, and my parents and I were doing did a day trip, and we ended up in the city, Palmerston North, where I was born, which was kind of cool because I like going back and seeing some of the places that I used to live in and that sort of thing. And we were downtown in the downtown central area, and they've got this beautiful square there with this great big tall tower clock, and they had this gorgeous Christmas tree up. So I'm standing there taking pictures of it, and I suddenly realized that in front of me was a rose garden, and in the rose garden were mainly the same colored roses that we had at our wedding 20 years prior. So and then this year when I woke up, I have on my mirror in my room, which I posted pictures of that ages ago when I did it, begin each day with a grateful heart. So I was sitting there going over things that I was grateful for. I'd already gotten up. I'd let Zeffie out of her crate. She was snuggling up next to me. She comes and jumps up on the bed and snuggles down next to me for a while. And so I was sitting there telling her all the things I was grateful for, and had this huge wave crash over me. And spent most of the morning with sparkles of love flowing. I had to get up early. I had a webinar to be on with Vanessa Hunter, and she did an amazing, amazing webinar about, what was it? 2020, dream boarding in 2020, or something to do with 2020 and dream boards. Sorry, Vanessa. Hang on, I have my notes. I can go back and look at my notes because I did write it down. Dreaming with 2020 vision. It was 3 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. It was incredible information. And one of the things that she had us looking at was she has these really cool life wheels and work wheels. And and of course I was doing okay up until that point. I'd managed to compose myself, got myself under control and everything else. And then she brings up the Wheel of Life. And the first segment on the Wheel of Life was relationships with a partner or romance. Scale it, rate it 1 out of 10. And I'm sort of like, and she's, so think about your relationship with your spouse or your significant other or your romantic partner, and what is that like for you? And I'm just like, mine's a 0. Because my husband's passed. I have no one I'm romantically involved with. And that just kind of hit me really hard. So my wheel had all these different things around different places, and then this one pie segment that's completely empty. Sorry, it's been a rough day. But it was a really good thing, and she had some really great panelists come on and talk about the different segments that she went through, and it was really well organized and tons of great information. It's been a while since I've heard Vanessa Hunter speak, but to hear her speak today was just awesome, and it's been a while, and I learned a lot. And she had some great speakers on there today. She had she had Jenny Potter, Renee Brown, Julie, sorry, I didn't write down Julie's last name, so I don't remember. Phoebe Trotman, Steve Schultz, and I always love the Steve and Vanessa show whenever the two of them are on stage together. It's always great chemistry. My dear friend Casey Eberhardt was on there as well, and then there was Michelle talking about vision boarding. And I guess my biggest takeaway from all of this was that I can actually use my life wheel and my work wheel, and set my life goals and my business goals for 2020 using those wheels, looking at the areas where I want to improve or I want to do more in those different segments. And I can also use them to help me create a vision board. Now, I created a vision board years ago, but for me, it didn't work. And today I found out why. It's because when you do a vision board, they suggested that you create an environment that speaks to you. So for some, it's lighting a candle. For some, it's listening to music. For some, it's being outdoors. So create that environment that helps you open up and really help you search deep. So I was like, okay, well, I really didn't have that. So we need a ritual for creating a vision board. But then when you are creating your vision board, it is the things that you put on them, you have to have an emotional connection to them and feel empowered by the pictures you're putting on there, or the words you're putting on there. They have to mean something to you, not just, oh, that's what this is the body I want. If you're looking at health and wellness, this is the body I want to have. So I'm going to put that on there. Is there a story behind it? Is there an emotional connection to it? Do you feel empowered by it? If not, then you need a different picture. So it was very interesting from that aspect, because then I thought back to my previous vision board and I thought I had no emotional or empowering connection to anything that was on my board. Yes, I kind of had a story as to why I put that stuff on there, but I didn't have that deep connection that I need to it for it to be almost like an aha moment, or yes, that's something I really want to do. So it was kind of interesting. And then in the middle of the board, you put your word for the year. So my word the other day was explosive, because I just feel like I've been planting all these seeds this year, and I just feel like there's going to be this huge like explosion next year. And I'm still putting things in place. We're not done with 2019 yet, because I'm still planting seeds, and I've got a lot of seeds being planted. So come first of the year, I can basically hit the button and boom, things will happen. So that was a really great, how long was it? We started at 9, we finished just before 11. No, sorry, we started at 8, finished just before 11. So it was about 3 hours. It was a phenomenal workshop. It was great, and I can't thank Vanessa enough for putting that thing together. It was great. Then we had time for lunch, and then it was off. And then I actually got some work done in between. So I got some work done. Throughout the morning and stuff, I would get up every now and again and go and just pick up Zeffie, and so I need a cuddle, I need a hug. And for some reason, usually when I pick her up to hold her close and hug her, she kind of struggles and wriggles a little bit and all that sort of stuff. But today she didn't, so she obviously sensed that she was needed. So I'd go over, pick her up for a little bit, hold her for a minute or two, and then put her back down again. And she knows that I'm not going to carry her off anywhere. I'm just going to hug her for a little bit and put her back down. And so that was really cool to be able to, I was very thankful I had Zeffie here today to help with that, to help me through the really rough patches that I had today. And then we went off to puppy training. Wow, puppy training. So today was all about impulse control, using words like take it, leave it, wait, and stay. Yeah, right. Not with this puppy. Although she was getting take it very well, because it meant she could have the treat. Leave it, she wasn't very happy with, because you'd have the treat on your hand and she'd come and sniff it, and you quickly go and you go, leave it and close your hand. And then she was licking all around it. She'd get a paw in there trying to get it. At one point she had a tongue, trying to get her tongue in between this area and here, trying to get a tongue in here to get to the treat. Then she was trying to lick my hand open. And then finally she gave up. And the second she gave up, it was like, good girl, take it. And so she's quickly cottoned onto that game very quickly. And then I moved it to like putting it, because I was sitting on the floor with her. It was easier to do it with me sitting on the floor with her. So I'd like put it on my shoe, because I had my foot bent up. So I put it on my shoe, and she'd sit and she'd go for it. And I'd cut my hand over top of it and go, leave it. And then as soon as I said leave it, she was sort of like, and then she'd just like lay down and look around. And I go, yeah, take it. Good girl. So it was that part she got okay. When it came to wait, that was a completely different story. And she was just like all over the place today. She was whiny. She was constantly trying to jump up on people. She was trying to get to the other dogs in class. She was just so unsettled today compared to what she normally is. Normally in class, she's pretty settled, and she'll come and lay quietly next to me while we do the instruction piece, and then we get to do the activity, and then we get to practice what we've been instructed to do. But she was all over the place today, and I was just at the point of going, that's it. We're done. We're not doing any more training today. It was that bad. And then we had to go and practice the loose leash walking. God, that still gets me. Out in the aisles and everything. And so I'm practicing up and down this nice big wide aisle, and she's doing fine. And then the instructor comes over to watch her. And what does she do? Zeffie just turns around, squats and pees. I'm like, great. So the instructor goes over and gets all the cleanup stuff for me so I can clean it all up and everything. And we get it all cleaned up and everything, take it over to the bin, put it in the bin, do the hand sanitizer stuff, come back, and we start going back up and down. And all of a sudden, she's just not following me. And I turn around, and she's now pooping in the middle of the aisle. And I thought, well, jeepers. No wonder she was so upset. She was trying to tell me she needed out, and I thought she was playing up. So today, there was just a complete disconnect. We're normally very well connected, but there was just a complete disconnect today as to why she wasn't listening to me, and I wasn't picking up her signals that she needed to go outside. But once she was empty, she then like literally drags me. She's only a little puppy, right? So she's very strong. So she drags me back into the training room, and I thought, okay, they've got a bowl of water there in the corner. Took her the bowl of water. She stood there and just drank and 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 drank. And I'm like, okay, she obviously now has room for the fluids. And then I get back, and so then she was fine for the rest of the class, which was all of 5 minutes. So then we get her back into the car, and we're driving back to the thing, and she's getting a little whiny again. And I'm like, I just don't get the whiny thing. I know she doesn't like driving in the car. She tends to get a little car sick, but in the RV, she's fine. And when I was talking with the instructor about it, she said, what you need to do is you need to have her go down settle down into the footwell of the car, because sometimes with dogs, it's the opposite of humans. Whereas if we're in a car and we're feeling nauseous, we have to concentrate on something distant. That, for puppies, can be very distracting, and it can actually cause them to feel more upset with their stomach. So she said, you've got to keep them down. So she said, put her down into the footwell where she can't see what's going on outside the car, and that will help settle her down. And I was like, oh, so it's the reverse. Who knew? So learnt that today. But she didn't go down into the footwell today. She just stayed up on the seat, but she basically stayed down, laying down most of the time. A couple of times that she stood up, sat there facing out the front, and she looked very pretty sitting out the front there. But she's all buckled in and everything, so she can't really go anywhere. Then we get back to the camper, get back to Sparkles, put the key in the door, go to open the door, and it wouldn't open. And I was like, oh, I'm already having a crap day. So I ended up going to my car, and in the pocket of my car door I have one of those Letterman tools, the ones that have the pliers in it and all the different blades and screwdrivers and all those sorts of attachments in it. So I grabbed that, put Zeffie back in the car so I could use both hands and not worry about her trying to tug away and go and sniff at whatever was around the campsite. Went back up to the RV, and I'm like pulling, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And I'm trying to get my light in to see what's going on. And so I have had an issue with the screen and the main door. So between the screen and the door, there's actually a lock there. And typically what happens is that there's a panel on the door that has a piece that sticks out that goes into the lock of the screen, and it holds it in an open position when they are clipped together. But I've been having an issue lately where that's not quite working, but you just give it a quick tug, and the lock, and it releases. So I'm tugging, and it's just not working. And I'm like in there, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on and all that. And I thought, screw this. So I just grabbed hold of the door and finally gave this big tug and actually pulled the lock off the main door that attaches to the screen. So now my screen is no longer attached to my door. So I've got to get complete new lock set for the screen and the piece to go back on the door. So I was kind of like, just another thing. And we got inside, and she went and curled up on the couch. And if you have a look at my Facebook page, you'll see a couple of pictures of her just like completely zonked out. Like she is, she's out to it. But she did come in, have something to eat and that, and I tried to get her to play, but she wasn't interested. She just went up on the couch there. She just laid down, and at one point she's like turning around, wriggling and all that sort of stuff. She ends up with the blanket that I have on the couch for her, like the couch protector type of thing, and she ended up with that halfway over her and all of that sort of stuff. So she was kind of funny today with that, and I just didn't really feel like doing anything. It was sort of like, so I kind of just had a blur afternoon and tried watching movies. That didn't work, and now I am partway through watching, what's it called? So I finally picked a movie to watch. Up until then I was just like playing games and not really interested in reading. I was just restless. So I made dinner, and then tried to watch one movie and that wasn't working for me, so I switched over to another movie that wasn't working for me. And I'm finally partway through watching Inside Man Most Wanted. I don't even know who's in it, but it's holding my attention. So we'll see how that goes, and I'll let you know how it goes tomorrow night. But yeah, so today's been a very emotional day for me, and this has been a grief-wise, thinking back over the last 2 and a bit years, this would probably be up there with one of the toughest days. Yeah, this morning I was just waterworks all the time. And then, of course, Vanessa's telling the story about her husband and the Father's Day in 2017 and how her husband got intentionally hit by these gang members because he was a motorcycle cop. When he pulled somebody over and this car intentionally hit him, and how he ended up in hospital and that. And he ended up in hospital next door to the one that my husband Brad, and her husband's Brad as well, so it gets very confusing. So her husband Brad was in one hospital, and my husband was in hospital that Friday or Wednesday for this procedure, then back in there on Friday, and they were in hospitals next door to each other. Fortunately, her husband went home well before mine, and he is now, he went back to work and all that sort of stuff. So, but of course, she's telling that story, and I couldn't even see the screen as she's telling her story on that and how life changed and all of that. It was a reminder that, you got to live in the moment. You got to seize the opportunities as they come in. Yeah, I was hearing all the words. I could not see anything on my screen. My eyes were just too full of sparkles of love that were just getting out of me. But it was very therapeutic and very cleansing, and a lot of great information in the thing. But there was just a couple little places throughout the training that just got to me where the grief took over. And that when she's telling that story about Brad, all I could think of was she was talking about Father's Day 2017 and how 24 hours later their life had changed. I'm like, that same Father's Day was the last time that Father's Day that my Brad celebrated. It was the last time his oldest grandson saw him, because that Friday he was then in hospital for 87 days. So I think for both Vanessa and I, that Father's Day in 2017 was a real defining moment. It was one of those happy days, and then that week for both of us basically turned to crap. But we came out of it. We're all moving on, and my Brad's no longer with us, but in spirit he is, and I'm just thankful for all the time I got to spend with him. My only wish is that we had a little longer, but we didn't. His purpose was done. It was time for him to move on to the next phase of his life and that. And I get that. I understand it, but I still wish I had more time. And but then I look at what's happened to me in the last 2 and a bit years, and the fog that I've been going through, and having it clear up for a patch, and then going back into a fog again, and then coming back out again. And the later half of this year has just been, it's been really cool. I got to go home in July, celebrate my brother's birthday, got to catch up with family in New Zealand. Then my parents came over and we did that big road trip together in August. And then in October, I spent 6 weeks in Arizona. And when I came back from Arizona, it was like, yes, there was a lot more clarity on the directions I wanted to go, things I want to accomplish. And I started planting a lot of seeds between when I got back. I actually started planting them when I was in October when I was in Arizona. Starting to plant a lot of seeds for stuff to happen in 2020. And then this last month so far, there's been a heck of a lot of planting going on. And clarity's been coming through, been meeting up, back networking again, so connecting with some great people. That's going to help make 2020 a boomer of a year. So, getting ready to close out 2020. Jeepers. Getting ready to close out 2019 and really looking forward to 2020, but I still have a lot of work left to do in 2019, so I'm not writing the year off. I know there's some people out there that are like, I am done with 2019. I can't wait for 2020 to come along. I'm sort of like, I'm not done with 2019 yet. I have stuff that needs to be done in 2019. It is going to get done in 2019, because if I don't get it done in 2019, it's going to screw up 2020. or it's going to make things a little tougher to do in 2020. It may get done, but it won't be as easy to do in 2020 if I don't get stuff done in 2019. So that's me from today. I wish you all a super fantastic sparkling day. Tomorrow is R&R day, although I have a feeling there's going to be a little work done tomorrow because I was not, I was meant to do some work this afternoon, but my head just wasn't in the space to work. So I may do some work tomorrow morning and get that out of the way, and then get ready for, and then spend the afternoon watching movies. In fact, that's what I think I will do. Do my work in the morning, and then my reward for getting the work done that I was supposed to do today, for getting it done tomorrow morning, my reward is going to be an afternoon of reading and movies, and maybe we'll go for a drive. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, that's it from me for today. It's been a very up and down day today, more down than up. But no matter what happens, today is always, always super fantastic and sparkling. Have a great evening. He konara.